Thank you for tuning back in to the Arizona Breakdown. I am Andre, and
I'm Ryan.
And today we are joined by
Nick
and Jack
of
Alistair.
Alice.
yeah.
Oh my God, you said it the
I
same
said,
way.
I said it right this time.
There's a thing.
And so are you.
Oh yeah, dude.
We are Alistair,
It's a whole thing.
so are you. No, there's a whole thing where none of us pronounce the band name the same way. So
Yeah.
I'm really proud of you.
Thanks. I mean, I could have, Alistair,
Alistair.
Alistair.
Oh.
Yeah, I was going to say, so let's get this official. How are we officially pronouncing the band name today?
Alistair.
Yeah, it's with an I.
Okay.
So
Alistair.
Alistair. I mean, hey, I named the band. I can say whatever I want.
That's true.
I can say it however I like.
Right.
So once again, I want to say thank you for watching again today. In case you missed it, make sure you check out the last podcast we did with Eric Davis and the Exiled Martyr. But today we are joined by the wonderful local band, Alistair. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. So you guys recently dropped a new single. So how's the fan reaction been for it so far?
Really good, actually.
Yeah.
Surprisingly good. Because, we used to do the metal thing. And, it was
Periphery.
It was cool, yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah, it sounded like your typical proggy metalcore stuff. It was all right. It was all
It
right.
was pretty good.
Okay.
but-
It was good for what it was, but we didn't care about it enough
Yeah.
to really push it. So basically, last year we just kind of said, forget it. We're just gonna make a whole new thing accessible, write the music that we want to write instead of just trying to fit a genre.
Yeah.
So we spent the last year trying to make this sound that is Alistair now. We dropped the single and got thousands of views in the first couple days without us even having to touch it. We're like, whoa.
Hell yeah.
Okay, that was unexpected. We dropped with kind of no expectation. We liked the song, we loved it. We thought people were gonna like it because it was accessible enough and a little bit of everything for everybody. But yeah, the reaction was astounding. Immediately, it was
Yeah, it
cool.
was really cool.
Really, really,
Really,
proud
really
moment. Super proud moment.
You guys came from different bands, though. You've been in other bands, and
Yeah.
now you are.
Yeah,
So do you
I
think
mean,
that carried over? Some of your fans from other bands that you've been in were like, "Oh man, I got to check this out."
Oh, definitely. We play in LK as well, and there's a whole, local following for them that we kind of piggyback off of. It's really sweet.
Hell yeah.
They both feed back into each other, and obviously, even the lineup that we have now for Alistair, we went under a different name even earlier, 5 years ago, called Inertia.
Yeah. Okay.
We were all over the place for a minute, and
Yeah.
we had a little bit of a cult following with that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it was
we
pretty cool.
Didn't take it seriously at all. We were just we were kids, just,
just
having
kids
fun,
having fun.
playing metal, right? It was whatever. But yeah, so people have been waiting. They've been anticipating something from us for a minute.
Yeah.
Because they've seen us all together doing it. So they're like, okay, when the fuck are you going to drop something? Come on, let's get on with it, right?
Yeah,
We just
dude.
kind of dropped it out of nowhere, and people were like, whoa.
Yeah, all my other friends keep asking me, "Hey, when's the album coming out?" And I'm like, "Later."
Whoa now.
It's coming out at some point.
Easy
So,
now.
okay.
Easy.
It's fine.
So yeah, I was gonna say that does actually segue into the next question. When can we hear new music?
Well, we'll be dropping, a few more singles in the next month. We want to wait, probably until next year to drop the whole thing because there's a lot of music, a lot of songs on this record.
Yeah.
So we're gonna probably drop, 3 more singles before we do the whole thing. So there will be more coming in the next few months. So
Let's say, what do you think? Maybe 3 months from now,
yeah,
ish.
ish. I mean, it just depends on how things come together, but we want to play it right. We want to make
Okay.
sure there's an
Do
anticipation
it
and desire
correctly.
for said things first and
Yeah.
really build it. So we have something to show people, and we want people to want more. So we're gonna play our cards right on this.
Okay.
So a few months.
And how's the writing process been for this? Because as stated, you guys have been in metal bands before. Was it a lot different than what you guys were used to compared to this, or did it just kind of flow?
It
Well,
definitely
definitely flowed.
Yeah, definitely flowed, but it was so different from our previous writing style, obviously, and just our process in general changed a lot. When we were doing metalcore kind of proggy things, me and Nick would get together and write a bunch of instrumentals, kind of just groovy stuff with breakdowns and whatever, and then we'd be like, all right, Colin, he's the vocalist, just write some melodies, do some stuff, and he'd kind of just go off and do it on his own, and then come to us and we'd record him and kind of produce what was already there. We wouldn't really sit down, me and Nick, and write melodies and structure things super well. So this time, Colin was way more involved in everything.
Okay.
So he would write melodies on the spot, and we would talk about them, kind of change them or make them better, whatever, kind of just in the moment, like when these songs were coming together. So it was way more immediate, I guess.
Yeah.
Like it was a direct, okay, we did this, and now we see the results from it. So it was a direct gratification kind of thing, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Immediate.
I think another thing too is the fact that when we were doing the whole thing before, we wanted the right things that were heavy and technical.
Yeah.
And all this material came from a stream of emotions rather than like, we want to be, impressive. We had a lot of bullshit happen to all of us individually. Like
Yeah,
we got humbled hard individually, like in our personal lives last year. And so it got to the point where we're just like, you know what? We need to get this out of our system. So we got together over the course of I think we wrote almost 12 songs in 3 months. It was ridiculous.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, it just all happened all at once. And we're just like, whoa.
Yeah, it was really crazy too, because me and Nick were on the same. Actually, all of us, all 5 of us, were just on the same page with what we wanted to do. We didn't really ever sit down and directly talk about. Okay, we're kind of gonna go for a '90s influence, throwback sound. It just kind of all happened that way. I would write a demo, Nick would write a demo, Colin would contribute stuff, and it just all had that same sonic character.
Okay.
It's really strange, really cool.
Chorus for days.
Lots
Everything.
Lots of chorus.
Yeah. No, because I was actually listening to I was checking out the single earlier today, and that was one thing I noted that struck me, that just the big chorus. And that is always one of my goddamn favorites. No matter the genre, it needs to have some goddamn chorus.
Yeah.
A good chorus, rather.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's a banger.
When you guys were doing the technical thing, were you getting kind of the paralysis by analysis because you were trying to be so technical? Because, you said you did 12 songs in 3 months. That's kind of cranking, man.
Yeah.
And when it comes from an emotional spot, rather than oh, man, how can I make this so heavy?
Right.
It's different.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, we definitely, it got a little stale. The whole
yeah.
technical, heavy thing.
So burnt out on it, man.
Yeah.
And that's not to, talk shit about the metal at all, because that's not what this is.
I'm in a technical not technical, but death metal band, and I agree completely.
Yeah,
that shit, it gets tiring.
I have an appreciation for all genres,
Yeah.
everything. But at least I just had a really hard time writing it and continuing to, because it's everything that I'm writing sounds the same now. I couldn't get into it personally, but
We were definitely falling into a big rut because we had written so much and then not released almost any of it.
Yeah.
We'd written 40 songs over the,
God damn.
or just 40 demos, not full-fledged songs, but
Ideas
something
and
like
stuff.
that. And then we only ever released 5 of them to the public.
Damn.
So that was a lot of years of just
sitting on it.
just stuff.
And trying
we
to-
were really bad at writing when we first started.
Yeah, it
So
was
a lot of those
as
ideas
everyone
never,
is.
yeah, never saw the light
and
of day.
it was a lot of trying to convince ourselves that we liked it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
there was a lot of that.
Oh, this has a redeeming quality about it, but now I just want to write good songs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of oh, it's a cool part. No. Make the whole fucking song cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
can.
Yeah, it's definitely translated into the stuff we do with LK, because LK is also a heavy band, but just the way that we've grown as songwriters, that's also been brought in, and that whole, we want to write good songs, not just oh, that's a cool riff.
Yeah.
And
what's it like going back and forth and making that jump, playing between those two bands? Is it? I would imagine it's probably got to be really nice having a release for both.
That's actually what I was about to say, is because I still do appreciate heavy music from time to time. I haven't completely gotten rid of it, even though I don't like to play it as much. Doesn't mean I don't like to listen to it. But it all comes in spurts. I write a lot more for Alistair than anything else, but sometimes I'll be oh man, I have this disgusting riff idea in my head. Hey Jake, can I come over? Let's hash this out, and we'll just demo it out, and we'll have a whole song idea for Ella, and then we'll just have weeks of Alistair songs, and once in a while we'll have LK song come about, and it's really cool. It's cool to have yin and yang, because you have an alternative kind of pop rock band, and then traditional hardcore band going on. It's whoa.
super hardcore band.
Very bipolar. Very bipolar.
I don't know. For me, it's a little different because you play guitar in both bands. I play drums in LK, so it's almost two completely different things.
Oh yeah.
So for me, it's really easy to go back and forth between the two, just because I'm doing 2 separate things.
Yeah.
But we kind of, both bands have the same mentality, about how we want things to sound. We want them to sound big and aggressive most of the time, and just large. You're just huge. We like big choruses and big parts, lots of cymbals, lots of little frilly stuff.
Oh, yeah.
For Alistair, it's tons of reverb on everything.
Oh yeah, reverb and
shoegaze
chorus.
as hell. And then you have LOK, where it's just like, how many rhythm tracks can we fit into one song?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
struggle.
Yeah, straight up. It's
Octo stacking.
dude, we've
Straight
been
up.
there.
Oh my god.
We'll do some like regular rhythm tones, and we'll do one like an octave down, and we'll just do like all this crazy shit, and it just sounds terrifying.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. We both bands also just write with a lot of layers. If you listen to the single today, I'm sure that you heard that there's there's rhythms, there's like a clean lead that comes in during the chorus, and then there's the actual lead, and then there's like 6 things going on during the verse.
Synths.
Yeah, synths.
Like,
lots of moving parts.
Hundreds of tracks.
So it kind of creates this wall.
Yeah. And I agree, and it definitely adds to for me, it just added to the emotion of the song. It was just everything built on it, and nothing felt unnecessary. So
Yeah.
that was one thing that caught me, and was just okay, cool. Everything fits, and it feels like it should be there.
that makes me very happy to
Thanks,
hear. Yeah, because we sometimes go overboard with the amount of tracks, and we're like, okay, this is chaotic, but that makes me feel good.
Especially on the older stuff, there was
We don't want to talk
just
about that.
so much.
Nobody will ever hear
sometimes.
that.
No.
It's been locked away in the.
Well, dude, some of those older riffs though, some of they can come back and just be the banger on the new album, because
Yeah,
we got
I mean,
that. I have a riff recently that we're gonna put on the new album. This was something I wrote when I was 17, and was just oh no, this is trash. Came back to it recently. I was like, oh, okay, well, let's kind of rework this. You know,
stank on it.
yeah, dude.
You
Seriously.
remember something from that? I'll forget a riff
Dude,
3 days later.
Guitar Pro.
Oh,
Pro.
yeah.
I
Oh,
tab out
yeah.
everything.
I haven't
We
used
used
that
to do
since
that.
2002.
Dude, I still it's to the point where because I'm still not the greatest when it comes to recording. So I just recently started getting into my DAW and started getting into actually tracking everything. Still using Guitar Pro though, and so we're all sending the band's all sending stuff back and forth, and everybody's expecting me to send actual recorded files, and I'm just yo, here's this MIDI,
Right.
check this out.
Remember when we used to do that?
Yeah, oh,
We did that for
everything.
Yeah.
Yup.
We used to do that for everything.
Export the little Guitar Pro audio track and
Yeah.
put it over some blast
Yup.
and you're good.
Yep. Yeah, there was.
Oh my god.
yeah.
I was back in high school when we did that shit. God.
We were all in high school, and you can definitely tell.
Yeah. So sometimes we'll be bored and just go through the old hard drive.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
And we'll sit there and just be like,
Yep.
thank fuck.
Oh,
we
yeah.
put that out.
Okay, I'm gonna bring this up real quick. Do you remember when we were gonna do that 3-song EP, and every song was gonna be 10 minutes? Do you remember that?
This is why I drink.
Try not to remember that.
Oh,
Yes, I do remember that. We had a 3-song EP idea that was every song was 10 minutes, and it was just, god damn it was ridiculous,
it was
dude.
so. I mean, yeah, it was really dumb. It was really dumb, honestly.
Nostalgia. We're going in it right now.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
So actually, going back down memory lane, how did the band start? So this specific band.
Oof. Okay.
Oof, big oof.
This goes back about 6 years, and oh my god, this goes back before Inertia.
See, because I remember. Yeah, no,
So,
there was another thing.
Yeah, so we're not gonna name it, but here's the thing. I lived in Texas for quite some time.
I'm sorry.
I'm not. I liked it.
Well, what part of Texas? Because there's
Awesome.
good and bad. Okay.
Austin was cool.
I hear Austin's awesome. I haven't been.
I like pretty
Austin. I've
much
been there a
everywhere
couple
but
times. It's
Houston.
nice.
We can just not talk about Houston.
See,
Yeah.
that's where I was going with that.
Oh yeah, everywhere.
Or El Paso.
El Paso. It's a place, but
I feel like it's on the. I feel like it's on the fringe.
yeah.
It's kind of on the fringe.
Yeah,
you
man,
know.
it's scary sometimes.
Yeah.
So I was moving back to Arizona from Texas, and I knew this dude from a music program that took place at my old school out there, and I knew Colin because I went to school with him when I was living here before, and basically I hit up Jack and a bunch of people I knew in Arizona when I was about to move back, and I was like, let's do something, let's start something when I come back. Came back, we basically did it was like a metalcore cover band, and I was doing vocals for it.
It was kind of cool.
It was I don't think
It was
that's even
fun.
the right word. It was fun because we didn't
It was
have
a
to
lot
give
of
a shit
fun,
about it. I mean,
you
we were
know.
like 15.
Yeah, I think I was like 16 or something like that.
Yeah. It was.
We were pretty young.
We didn't have to care about it. We're just jamming out and having a good time playing these awful shows. It's whatever. And
We've all
then,
been there.
We got Colin on board because he posted like this video that he did. It was like a cover of a Bring Me the Horizon song. I was like, we need to get that guy. And I know that guy. That's my guy. So, we got him on board and we started doing the metal thing as Inertia. And then we did that for a few years and then, stopped that. We did Alistair, which was kind of recycled Inertia demos that were like the good ones.
Mm.
Then we released the EP, and then we took it off of every streaming service, and now we're releasing new music because we're finally proud of ourselves. We made it. We finally made it, Ma. All right, I'll buy you a house.
There you go.
Finally made it.
Yeah.
We're finally proud of ourselves.
I think where did the big change really happen for us? Because like I went to Seattle. I lived in Seattle for like 9 months. I was doing a crass internship, so was up there. Came back, and then that's when we were like really dug into everything and released that EP.
Yeah, we released that.
And
EP.
then that year was just like super hard. So
Yeah,
we kind of like
had some awful things happen, and so we're
hit a
just
wall.
Yeah.
Kind of went down the spiral a little bit.
Yeah, we all met up at one point, and we're just like, do we want to do the metal thing anymore? Everybody's just kind of like, like I don't know. And I was like, it's not that like I hate it. It's just like it's not me.
Yeah.
Like, it feels so forced.
Yeah.
At least for me. Like some people are just naturally great at writing heavy stuff, and it's amazing, But we're not Code Orange. We can't do that.
Yeah, Code Orange.
And I mean, yeah, it's everybody's forte. Like, I don't think that you should be in a band just to be in a band. You should be in a band that you actually want to make music for, because it shows when you're not invested in it. Like,
Yeah, I mean, because the thing is, like, at least for me, like I was raised listening to '90s stuff. My mom played in like a bluesy kind of grunge band, and that's
Sick.
with my dad, and that's how I came to be. But she raised me. On her own, like going to parties. Like I was like her backpack baby, dude. Like she'd take me to parties, and I'd hear like '90s like grunge and stuff like that. And I grew up listening to it with her.
Soundgarden.
Like Soundgarden,
They
Alice
didn't
in
muff you,
Chains,
huh?
all that stuff.
No muffs.
Oh,
no.
Straight open air.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I was raised on that, and my music taste now is all over the place. Like I'll go from listening to Susie and the Banshees, listening to Nails, like, in like the span of 5 minutes. Like, you know what I mean? So I like everything, but I feel like I'm best personally writing stuff that's very poppy.
Yeah.
That's all, and it feels
Yeah.
good to write. It feels right.
hell yeah. And once again, you gotta write what you want to write for. But on that note, we are gonna go to a quick commercial break. So we'll be right back. We are back after that commercial break. So I wanted to kick things back off. Do you guys have any funny live stories, or not necessarily from this band, but just in general, just favorite live stories?
I mean, I can tell that one.
Like live stories or life stories?
Let's do live stories and then life stories.
You said wife stories.
Wife. Oh, I got a wife story.
Oh God.
Hey, we're doing all three then.
Tinder is wild. Anyway, you go first because you have a few more stories than I do about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I've got a tour story. It kind of brings down the mood a little bit, but I think
That story is fucking dark, dude.
yeah, I'm gonna tell it anyway because it's like one of the best ones that I have. Okay, so
Get ready to cry.
I mean you're not gonna cry, but it's just really intense. So I was on this tour a couple of years ago with this local band called Never Let This Go, and we were in like Illinois or something like that, kind of like in the middle right of the U.S. So not quite like the West Coast or the East Coast, I mean, but like right on the fringe, right in between there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like Midwest, but not really.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just this weird little area. Anyway, so we're at this venue. Me and David, that's who is the like front man of the band. We really had to like poop, really bad, really bad. Like we've been on the road all day just to get to this venue, and we just had to do our thing. So we go and find the bathrooms that are in the venue, and like they're quite literally blown up. Like there's like no toilet, there's like no sink, there's like a little hole in the ground, and there's like no door.
Welcome to India. India.
Yeah, maybe it was like Indiana or something like that, right? Just I don't
we
remember.
don't do that in Illinois, man.
Yeah, I don't remember where it was. Like that's the thing. It was just somewhere kind of over there. Anyway, so like we're like, okay, well this is not happening here. So we walk down the street to this gas station, and we get there and someone's in the bathroom. So we're like, okay, we're just kicking around, minding our own business. It's been like 10 minutes at this point, and we're like, hey, like we asked the guy, hey, is there someone actually in there, or do we have to get the key from you, or what? And he's like, yeah, there's someone in there. And he gets out and he knocks on the door, and he's like, hey. No answer. So we're like, okay, whatever. So he goes back, and about 5 minutes later, he comes back again, and he's like, you're not going to hear that. He knocks on the door, and he's like, I've called the police. They're on their way. Right? And so, like, we're like, okay, well, whatever. At least when they get here, they'll kick him out of the bathroom.
Come
and
on,
we
man,
can
I
go.
got a shit.
Like, we can do our thing.
Dying over here.
I don't care if he's in there. I'll shit anyway.
So anyway, so another few minutes go by, and then this lady comes in, this pregnant lady, and she like goes up to the door and she starts knocking on it, and she starts saying this name. Can't remember what the name was. And she's like, getting really agitated. She starts crying, and we're like, hey, are you like okay? Because we're nice guys. We like want to know what's going on. And she's like, I've tracked my boyfriend here through the Find My iPhone app because he like ran away 2 days ago or something like that. And she's crying. She's pregnant. We have no idea what's going on right now because like that's really all that she would say. So anyway, fire department gets there with cops, and they break open the door, and there's this dude just laying there on the ground, super like pale, super white. He's fine. He's just like super out of it, right? And like they pick him up and they're like, "Hey, are you okay?" And he's like, he's just on one, So like we're like, okay, well we don't really know what's going on, I guess, but he passed out in the bathroom. Anyway, turns out he overdosed on heroin.
Don't do drugs.
Yeah.
It's not funny. I don't know
those
why you
drugs.
think that's funny, but it's not.
No.
People have to poop, and you're
Yeah,
throwing it on.
You are fucking it up for everybody else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're fucking 10-ply, bud.
So the craziest part of this thing is like, they get him out of the bathroom, and then there's like blood on the floor and stuff like that because there's a needle in his arm.
yeah.
And so we're like,
Jesus.
well, I guess we can't. I mean, like, can we like wait 10 minutes and you guys clean that all up and we can go? And they're like, you probably don't want to do that. There's heroin in the toilet. And so like they have to do this whole thing, and they've got like evidence bags, and it's just. So that's the story of how I didn't get to go poop on tour.
Oh my god.
You're sitting there, you're like,
Yeah, no, like
you
me,
mother.
me and David just looked at each other and we were like, well, I guess it wasn't worth it after all. And at this point, I think we had about like an hour till we were supposed to be back at the thing to play. It was just like, oh.
There wasn't like a McDonald's nearby or anything that you could like go drop a deuce?
I think that we found something eventually, or we just went in the hole. I don't remember.
This is not the poop story I was expecting.
Right? Right?
That's a good one. Then.
Yeah, it's
right?
pretty
God
crazy.
So,
mean-
life stories, or wife stories.
I've got another one if you want another
I
one.
think this is a new. I think it's a new segment.
Yeah, right.
As long as there's no heroin involved in this one, I'm okay with it. You tell
No.
your story, buddy.
So I was in Austin. I was
Ooh.
on that same tour.
Okay.
And we were, like this story isn't quite as crazy. It's just kind of, I don't know. It's just a story. So I'm just chilling outside the venue, smoking a cigarette, and these two drunk girls walk up, and one is like really drunk. I can just tell. And she like walks up and she's like, "Oh, hi," and then she just fucking smacks me in the crotch, dude. Like literally, like
hello.
she's like, "Oh," and I was like, "What?"
Did she scoop you?
Yeah, I think she was just like,
Oh.
I think she was, drunk and
Teabagged
horny.
herself.
Yeah, dude,
you
she
know
was
that,
like,
right?
yeah. But like, she hit so hard. Like, I was like, if you want that, that's not the way to go about it.
Right.
And-
You'll do.
Yeah, right, just like,
You
oh,
asked
dude,
nicely.
it was so.
You asked nicely.
Oh, it was just so weird. And then like her friend was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." And I was like, you know what? Just leave. It's fine.
Yeah, right.
I'm just gonna be hurting for the next 20 minutes. It was, just out of nowhere.
So,
Completely
yeah, things
random.
to not do.
Yeah, things to not do. Don't go on tour.
I mean, that's what I'm hearing. Yeah, poop stories and getting just violated by drunk women.
Well, maybe just don't go on tour with Jack.
Or your dad.
We don't talk
no.
about that.
Oh no.
I'm not bringing up. We're not bringing up past grudges. All right.
No, it's all right. It's just don't worry about it.
I don't want this. I don't want that to be aired. Anyway. Oh my god. I mean, this one. Nothing really came of this, but this was something I heard about after the fact. I'm not gonna say where this happened, but it happened. Were you at the first Ella show that I played with them? Were you there?
No, I was in Seattle.
You hear about the story about how I tried to jump off the roof?
No.
Oh.
Oh, we've also got another one about Justin. Anyway.
Anyway, so after the show, like I was definitely not sober at all, and I went up onto the top story of this bar we were playing at, and I was like, "Yo, I'm fucking invincible! Like, watch this shit, y'all!" Security guard just comes up, completely straight face, has none of it, grabs me, and goes. I remember him saying this because I thought it was so funny. He goes, "You're fucking on one, bud." He's like, "Don't do that." I was like, "Bro." He goes, "Hey, killed it though." I was like, "My guy." He goes, "Yeah, you guys are fucking awesome. Just for fuck's sake, man, just don't do that to me. Do not do that to me." And I was like,
Oh God.
"You're fucking on one, bud." I remember that distinctly, and I was like. Yes, I am, sir. I will get off your roof now.
Oh, God.
Salutations.
Not gonna name the
great.
venue, but I feel like I have an idea.
I feel
of
like
what
you
happened.
might. Yeah. Just know the staff was very accommodating and put up with my bullshit for 6 hours. It's cool. Oh man. What was
Thank you again to them.
Yes, yes.
I was gonna say like this isn't our story, but there's the story of how Justin fled the Nile.
Oh, when Justin. I
God.
wish I was there for this.
Me too.
The basement portion?
Yeah, the underground.
Okay.
I think
yeah.
it was.
Oh, was this when Mark was still in the band?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
this was a long
Yeah.
ago.
Okay. Cool. I think I've heard this story.
Yeah. I guess because during Ella sets he likes to do the thing where he climbs up on his shit and goes all Dillinger escape plan and everything.
I
Jake
think.
tells the story the
Yeah,
best.
I was gonna say he tells it so good.
He's like, I'm playing, we're jamming out, it's heavy, everybody's having a great time. He goes, I start to feel something like hit my face. He's like, I think it's just sweat coming off Justin or something like that. And he's like, I look up and there's this pipe that's bent. Just this water spewing out of the thing. And I guess they cut their set and they're like, you got to get the fuck out of here.
Damn.
And apparently they were banned from the Nile. I ended up playing there like 5 more times, but
Yeah, no. So like, like he's like, yeah, there's just this mist on my face. I didn't really know what was happening, and so apparently Justin was hanging on the water pipe that's exposed.
yeah, because they got the exposed pipes and wiring and all that shit.
Like
Real
and
ghetto
so,
hours.
Like he's like hanging on it, doing his King Kong thing or something like that, right? And
Fucking
apparently,
gorilla, dude.
and it just like starts. Yeah,
I love
So,
him, but god damn it, love that guy.
He's a granilla.
He's a fucking gorilla.
Granilla, dude.
Did you say a granola?
Granilla.
He's a granilla.
Granilla. Evil Granilla.
Yeah.
That's just an inside thing. Don't worry about it.
So-
I'm not really that funny.
I don't even like water, dude.
So were you guys into Warped Tour? Well, I feel like we all were at some point.
We've all been at least.
Yeah, I
once.
think I went like
Yeah.
the last few years.
So
I went 2013.
how do you guys feel about it not being a thing anymore?
I mean, in Arizona, it's okay for it not to be a thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
no,
like-
as much as you love seeing your favorite bands, like I know for a fact you cannot drag me out there in 120-degree weather and expect me to have a good time.
Yeah, dude.
Especially with like $50 or whatever, $60 for a ticket. Like, I don't want to ever pay for that kind of sunburn ever, ever.
Yeah.
And I burn like a bitch, like no matter what. I went and got the
Olive
worst
tone
sunburn of
bastard,
my
you.
life, and I put sunscreen on. I took precautions. All right.
Yeah, but
And-
how many times did you reapply?
The real questions.
Yeah.
If we're being honest here, I was stoned as hell, so I don't remember. But
Fair.
yeah, it was a good time, except for the aftermath. But I mean, it's definitely heartbreaking for a lot of people. I mean, especially people that were on it every year. Like
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
bands like looked forward to that. A lot of people look forward to seeing their favorite bands every year. And I was kind of bummed out about it when I first read about it, but it kind of makes sense. They still have select dates that they do.
Yeah. So
Like,
I
it's not
think it's
completely
like
done.
California and another state now that
I think
they're doing.
Jersey.
Jersey.
Yes. Yes. So
Actually, I think Colin's going to that. So
Yeah.
yeah. So it's still a thing to an extent, just not the countrywide tour.
yeah,
And
I think what I missed more than Warped Tour was like Uproar and Mayhem. They would happen
Oh,
here
yeah.
every year
Mayhem
for
was
like
fun.
5 years, and those were just always such a good time. Because they only had like 3 stages, and then when you went to the last one, it was like covered, indoor kind of.
Oh, yeah.
The big awning because it was at Okchik Pavilion.
Auction, yeah.
Auction.
I like the fact that with festivals like Mayhem and all that, that they had the one local stage.
Yeah,
That like, so if you were on it, like you knew where to find your buddy's band,
Yeah.
so you can go support and hang out.
Yeah, it was-
with Warped. God damn it, it's everywhere. You're
Yeah,
like,
and you're like looking at like the schedule, and you're like, okay, where's that?
all right, where's my buddy
that
playing?
One? Is it that one?
They all look the same.
Yo,
Yeah.
You know.
like matters like a lot of respect to every local who's played Warped, but like goddamn showing up and like getting there to play probably what like noon.
Yeah.
Like,
I got a 15-minute set at
Yeah.
noon, like I mean, it's a great experience.
yeah,
I'm
no,
sure.
it's, and a
Like,
great opportunity. Don't get me wrong.
You get to have that under your belt. Hey, we played a date at Warped or whatever, but you know, I feel like it was very inconvenient for a lot of people. I hear a lot of stories where like, yeah, we played Warped, but like, was it worth it?
Yeah.
Not saying anything against the company that does Warped, but or Vans. They still do Warped. Is it still
I mean, it's
Yeah.
Vans Warped Tour,
Yeah, okay.
but I don't know if they
I don't know
I
if
actually.
mean, it is in the name.
I don't know who. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know shit about fuck, but
Same.
but yeah, I mean, I've heard mixed things, but
Yeah.
it was good when I went. It was a lot
Yeah.
of fun. I mean, I
Yeah.
got to nerd out over bands I liked. So
Yeah.
I mean, like when I was like coming up and really wanted to go to Warped Tour, none of like my favorite bands were ever on it. You know, because I kind of came up listening to like old stuff with my dad in the car, and then I kind of formed my own identity and was really into like progressive metal and all that kind of stuff. So like we never really got to see any kind of bands like that on it. You know, one of my favorite experiences was going to see Bring the Horizon on Warped Tour.
hell yeah.
Right after they released Sempiternal.
I
And it
remember
was
that Warped
so
Tour.
good.
Yes.
They had like this just enormous circle pit going around the mixing booth, the sound guy booth.
Sound engineer was like, "Don't touch it! Don't touch
Like,
it!"
and they're just going around, and like the whole crowd is yelling. It was a great time. But another reason that I don't really miss it maybe is like the sound quality.
Oh, yeah.
was never great.
Yeah.
It's like ruins you going to concerts when you do sound.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is not right.
the guitarist
Hurts
just
when I listen.
Yeah, you're like, dang, that snare just sounds
Yeah.
like.
guitars just disappear.
I remember.
Or they're way too loud.
Yeah, I remember there was this one stage. I think it was like the last year that I went, and like the snare. I don't really know how to describe it other than it sounded kind of just like a rubber mallet hitting like a bubblegum wrapper.
Oh God.
Like it was just so gross
Like a
sounding.
broken head to me. Like,
Yeah, I don't know what was going on, but like every single snare drum that day on that stage just sounded like garbage, and I was like, it was really hard for me to enjoy it.
I think the last time I went was the year that Black Dahlia, Upon a Burning Body. I think August Burns Red was also on that tour. I don't remember the other bands just because like those are my genre specifically,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like I think it was that same one that Bring Me the Horizon played.
Might have been because I remember seeing August Burns Red that year too.
Yeah, and then I'm pretty positive it was that same one.
Yeah.
And Bring Me the Horizon set was fucking insane. Speaking of Bring Me the Horizon, do you guys have a specific era of Bring Me the Horizon that you guys particularly vibe to?
I like Sempiternal
I
a lot.
I like Sempiternal. I liked a lot of That's the Spirit. I like the first half of that record was really good. Their new stuff, I like some of the songs on it.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. It's just a lot of the songs ended up sounding the same to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, like I get it. You know, you like to play samples from, you know, what's it called?
Splice.
Splice samples.
Oh yeah, I remember the new album came out. So I like all the recent albums, the three that they did, and actually the one before that too. I like a lot of those songs. But I remember the new one came out, and I was like, oh, new Bring Me the Horizon just sounds like Splice with Ollie Sykes.
I mean, like
Name the album Splice.
the
for
songs,
Christ's sake.
the songs are written really well.
Yeah.
Like they're catchy as hell, and I definitely see the appeal. And they're great musicians. Like not shit talking at all. It's just like I ended up getting like a repetitive vibe from a lot of it. But you know, Sempiternal was my shit back in the day.
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
Like
Remember when that came out?
Oh, my God,
It was like
changed me.
life changing.
yeah, I was
which
like,
is really crazy.
This is metalcore. Like this is good metalcore.
I was gonna say, how do you guys feel from with that transition they did from deathcore to metalcore to I guess they are pop now.
Yeah,
Yeah, kind of like avant-garde pop
Yeah,
stuff.
really-
I mean, like
trying to push the pop genre.
it makes sense for them, you know, like especially
It's
with
bound.
Ollie
Yeah.
being like, you know,
A singer
not
now.
having a great technique and like ruining his voice and having to go in a different direction. You know, they got that synth player that changed them. You know, it makes sense and it's a really cool like progression to see.
They've definitely matured.
Oh, a lot.
Like big time.
Yeah. But like Colin, our vocalist, he loves Suicide Season.
Oh yeah.
Like,
He's
that's-
a scene kid at heart, dude.
Oh, dude.
He had. I remember. I thought he was so cool in high school because he had the best fringe. I was like,
Dude, yeah.
I was like, Dude, this guy's fucking got it going on. Do you want to go smoke a cigarette and listen to Joy Division? Let's go.
Hold on. You know what? Like in editing, we should pop up a picture because there's one on Facebook. And it's amazing. I'll send it to you. I will send it to you guys because it's hilarious.
We love you, buddy.
Yeah, Colin, you're my one true love. But
such a guy. What a
you
guy.
know, like he's really into like that beginning stages of Bring Me because that's like how he learned how to scream. Yeah. You know, back when we were doing like heavy music, he was like
our current vocalists out there.
Yeah, you know, he was like, dude, Suicide Season. That's the album where I learned how to scream because he would just put it on repeat and go in his bedroom and scream into a mic. You know,
there's a video on Facebook somewhere from like 2012 where it's just him with his leg up on a thing.
Dude, yeah, no. He covered Suicide Silence.
Suicide Silence.
Wake Up. Yeah, dude, this is a great video. Like he's just got the little 58, right? Big old cable and like this little tiny karaoke machine kind of thing, and he just plays the song
over the camera audio.
Yeah, camera audio and everything. It's amazing.
It's just clipping like a
good.
motherfucker. And I was like, I love this kid.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
he's great.
Colin's great. Colin's a walking meme.
Dude, looking back at some of like the MySpace videos that I myself posted, I'm like,
oh yeah,
oh my cringe.
It's
oh my god,
MySpace, dude.
Like, oh my god.
I'm just saying, like, we would have been great in like 2005.
Oh,
like,
dude. Yeah, no, I don't scroll past 4 years on my Facebook ever.
Oh, dude.
Actually, maybe not even like the last year.
Oh, I deleted all evidence.
Yeah,
Nope.
I mean it's there because I'm sure someone someday is gonna find it and laugh their ass off.
On your wedding
and it's
day,
gonna be
dude, we're gonna
great.
blackmail the fuck out of you.
Yeah, exactly. I might as well embrace it.
Blackmail you with that so bad.
Yep.
And on that note of future extortion, we're going to be going to a quick commercial break. All right, so we are jumping back in. So let's if you guys had a dream tour lineup, like including
you should
yourself,
take
not
this.
including yourself, but if you had a dream tour lineup, what would it be?
Oh man.
Yeah, you take this first.
Oh god damn it! There's so much pressure to put on me.
My Bloody Valentine.
Well, yeah, maybe. I mean,
The Cure.
The Cure would be headlining.
Yeah, I was gonna say The Cure.
Ooh.
The Cure would be headlining. There'd be
Hell
no
yeah.
doubt about it. They could wipe the floor with us any day. I don't care. They would wipe the floor with us any day. The Cure, fucking. I don't. Who are you listening to right now?
Well, so for me, like all the bands that I would want to see are bands that I can't see currently, right? So like I would love it if I could go see like Soundgarden, Linkin Park,
Ooh.
Queen with
Yes.
Freddie Mercury in it.
David Bowie.
Yeah, David Bowie. I'd love to see Nine Inch Nails.
Oh,
Like
dude.
that
tour,
that
dude.
that
Nine
show would
fucking
just be
nails.
ridiculous.
Dude, imagine that goddamn tour right
Oh,
there.
Smashing Pumpkins.
Smash Echo and a Bunnyman too should be on there.
Yeah,
just
like
throwing it out
honestly, I just want a huge festival that's like 3 days. You know, like
Throwing
that
System of a
would be
Down
my
and I'm there.
there. Yeah.
to see all this music that I grew up on. Rush, love Rush.
Ooh, hell
Jesus
yeah.
and Mary Chain for sure needs to be on there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like.
I mean, Nine Inch Nails and Jesus and Mary Chain just went on tour together.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I need to see them the next time they come.
Yeah.
I love Nine Inch Nails.
Oh yeah.
Really
I
good.
saw that tour poster. I was like, if only I could fucking play that show.
Right?
I was like, I would lose my shit.
Happiest moment of my life.
Yeah.
I don't even care if we sound good. You know.
Honestly though, like the tour or the show lineup that I would want right now, just because my music taste is all over the place, is like basically what Austin City Limits looks like right now. The Cure and Cardi fucking B, dude. No, I would fucking love that. Dude, I would play a show with Cardi B. Are you fucking kidding me right
the
now?
draw would be good.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, the draw would be fuck. You know what? I feel like that would be a fun show.
Dude, that would be sick.
Dude,
Yeah.
I feel like Cardi B probably like backstage
Brings
would be
it.
lit as fuck.
Oh,
Like,
Yeah, dude.
You got Robert Smith like, I don't like anything, and she's just like, You know what I mean? Like just up in your face about everything. I
I
love
used to
it.
drug people.
Yeah.
And then Chad Kroger comes in and says, "Hey, look at this photograph."
Oh yes, man, I love Nickelback.
Dude, playing
And
his
then
joke
you got
back
Tom
would be
York
it.
sitting there in the corner like,
Oh god.
Radiohead. Ooh, sorry. There's another one.
So, what are some bands that everyone likes that you guys don't like? Like we're talking like radio friendly.
5 Finger Death Punch.
Okay, that's a very mixed bag though. Like
21 Pilots.
I love
Ooh.
21 Pilots.
okay,
I like their old stuff.
Nope.
Before that,
Really?
before,
Explain.
before that one album.
I don't know what it is, man, because I've tried. And like I respect the music, not bashing anything at all, but I've listened to quite a lot of their stuff. And I'm just like, this does fucking nothing for me. Like I don't know what it is. Like it's just like I don't want to use the word boring, but it is to me.
It's just like
Yeah.
uninspiring for you, you know.
Yeah, it just kind of seems stale. I don't know what it is. I mean, people love them, and I can see why. You know,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah,
poppy.
They put on a really great.
They kind of don't have a set genre. I like that. That I can definitely appreciate. It's just I don't know what it is. There's just something about it. Like it's also the fact that I associate 21 Pilots with like white high school girls that annoy the shit out of me. You know what I mean? Like the people that come to your shows and just in your face like, "Oh, hi, how are you?" Like, I have a 21 Pilots flag in my bedroom. Like, cool.
you were in a screamo band.
Like,
How do you
that's
understand
fucking awesome.
Metal guy is not
Actually,
impressed.
if you have those personality traits, you might want to talk to those 5 people over there too, because y'all will get along really well. But that bullshit aside, like I don't know. I try to like it. I do. 'Cause I try to give everything a chance. I just can't. I don't know. That's it. That's it for me.
And you said 5 Finger Death Punch?
Yeah, I mean, specifically talking about like hard rock.
Okay.
You
A
know,
lot of hard rock
like,
is the same way.
That
for me.
that's just one that I can think of off the top of my head because they had like 1 or 2 albums that were really good.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't ever listen to it just because that's not where my head's at recently. But like they had a couple cool songs, dug them, and then yeah, like the first
two
stuff,
albums I thought were pretty good.
yeah, pretty good. But then like they just had this whole, I don't know, like it just doesn't.
And plus,
I don't know how
Ivan
to- I don't know
Moody,
how to-
like the vocalist,
I loved him in Moto Grader.
Oh, Motograder was sick.
Moto Grader was fucking awesome, and that's one of the first shows I ever saw.
They were like weird new metal. I liked
Yeah.
them a lot. They had that weird instrument thing that they would play.
Yep.
It's called a motograder. Yeah. It was just a gigantic
cool.
piece of aircraft cable with a pickup in it. And they would just
Oh,
beat
yeah.
the shit out of it, and it sounded evil.
So, question though, do you guys separate personal lives from music though? So, if a musician does something super shitty in their personal life, does that ruin the music for you?
It really depends. It was a fine line because, like, okay, there are lots of bands out there full of drug addicts.
Yeah.
They make great music. They don't really hurt anybody. They might be kind of shitty, but they don't hurt anybody. But then you got people with like sex
Tim
offenses. Yeah, sex offenses
Tried
and
to-
murder
tried to-
charges.
I still like Michael Jackson.
Or Michael Jackson. Michael fucking
Music.
Jackson.
I love Michael Jackson's music.
Music is fine,
Yeah.
but I can't listen to it anymore without that image coming to mind. I'm
Yeah.
like, that is fucking disgusting.
Yeah,
So I think
I don't
think
stand
it
for that shit. I
really
mean,
does
it
depend.
irks
you know,
irks me.
That's why I don't
mean-
listen to anything after Thriller.
That's fair.
Fair,
I mean,
fair.
He was great at what he did, and he was
Yeah.
awful at what he did in his personal life. Like, I mean, he's absolutely terrible human being. No respect for him.
Yeah,
Like,
So, Tim Lambesis though,
Yeah.
As Lay Dying.
Oh, yeah.
That's where stuff like that, because that's more recent.
It's a gray area, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so like for me personally, I loved As I Lay Dying, like when I was like 12.
oh yeah, same.
I listened to An Ocean Between Us and the one that came after that, Powerless Rise, Shadows and Security or whatever. I loved that band. I thought they were really cool. Like to the fact that they were a Christian, metal.
Yeah, you did. Then you met me.
Oh, you bad influence.
21 and discovered alcohol. Anyway,
You're like, nothing is real.
It took you that long?
well, no. Officially, yes.
Yes.
Legally speaking, yes, it did.
Yep.
But like I loved that band, and their new singles have been really great, and especially like they've really done this whole thing where they've recrafted their image of like someone he was like, hey, I really did some messed up shit. And, there's this whole video where the whole band sat down and talked about it and talked through their problems, and there's another documentary right now that just came out. It's like 15 minutes, and it's his story and like how everything happened. And I can respect that. He's trying to like be like, hey, that shit sucked, and I'm sorry, and I've apologized to everyone, and I'm just gonna try and live my life better now. Go to prison. He did his time.
Did therapy and stuff like
Yeah, did therapy. So like I still support them because I think that is a thing that everyone deserves at some point. It's to get reintegrated.
I mean,
Might as
yeah.
well give him that chance.
And the thing is like there's an attempt being made.
Yeah.
Does that mean it changes the way I felt about what he did? Hell no.
Oh, no.
Oh, absolutely not. Disgusting. But he is making attempts to be better as a human being. Some people can't back that up. They're like, nope, never support him again. And I get it. I went through a phase where I was like, I don't give a fuck that they're back. I was like, fuck that guy. And then, I started reading into it. I was like, okay, this guy actually genuinely feels awful about what he did, and he's trying.
Yeah.
Does it mean that he'll be an insanely better person immediately? Probably not. That's not how it works. But I mean, at least there's an attempt being made, and I'm pretty sure he won't do that again. I hope to fuck he doesn't do
Yeah,
that
right.
again.
If he does it again, then that's a whole different can of worms.
I feel like that's the place a lot of people will put themselves in, though. They'll do something that's kind of on the edge, and I'm not saying that Tim's situation specifically is on the edge, but they'll do something that puts them on the edge of the court of public opinion, and like a lot of people will be like, oh, okay, we're cool. And then we find out they just killed like 5 dogs. And it's just like, oh, nope, never mind.
Yep.
Fuck them. Like, they do something to just get themselves just hated. So we're at the point right now with Tim where it's just like, you can show us that you've done, like, you've got to prove it.
I mean, and the thing is,
just in like the gray area.
Yeah.
he's openly willing to admit everything that he did wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I haven't watched that documentary.
he even said, he goes, I don't blame a single person if they never want to support me again.
Yeah.
He's like, I deserve it. Like,
I mean,
I get it. I mean,
yeah.
I haven't tried to kill anybody ever, but I mean, that's a
Pretty
very,
hard.
very dire situation, and I mean, I'm sure it was a long process of him trying to fix himself, like trying to, become a better person.
Like 6 years ago
Yeah.
when he was arrested for it.
Yeah,
know.
about that. Yeah,
So
Yeah.
it's been a long time, so
we'll see, right? We only time will tell.
Yeah. And I don't know. My viewpoint on that has always been, if you believe in activism, just in general, if you believe in like, if you are trying to convert people to your cause, then you need to understand that people can change. Because if otherwise, what's the point in trying to get people to join your cause? Like,
Nothing is immediate, and if you shun people for not immediately agreeing or not falling exactly into that clique, then you're just as bad as the people who spew hate.
Yep.
Like you are just as bad as what you were fighting against.
I personally I haven't really listened to As I Lay Dying since that all happened, but I mean, I'm giving him the opportunity to live his life without the just, oh, you did this, you're never gonna fucking change. Like, I'm just gonna watch and see what he does.
That's all you
observe
can
what
do
happens.
is allow time to do its thing.
Yeah,
People
absolutely.
are weird, man. They're weird. Life is
mean,
fucking weird.
like,
You heard it here first.
Yeah, I think it also just depends on like what the situation is. Like you were saying that earlier, like someone like Michael Jackson's case where there was,
He made
court
no
and-
attempt to change.
yeah, like he didn't really. He just that's the way he was, and he didn't care.
And the thing is
You know?
with Michael Jackson is that he was in such a place of power that nobody would fucking question him.
Yeah.
The parents of these poor kids never questioned him. They're just like, oh, he's Michael Jackson. My kid gets to hang out with Michael Jackson.
Yeah, it's kind of so like
and-
in that situation, it's a little different,
Yeah.
Yeah, but what about like the whole "it's too good to be true" thing? Like, if you have a kid, Michael Jackson wants to hang out with your kid.
Oh, I'd be
isn't some
skeptical.
part of you being like, okay, that's weird.
But then you
I
have
feel
these
like you
people.
say
You know what
that-
I mean?
Yeah,
I
but
don't care if it's like Mariah
then-
Carey. I'd be like,
That's a little.
that's still a little weird.
Well, the thing is, like, you got these parents.
Even if it's Cardi B, bitch.
Well, okay, because you got these parents that are just so starstruck. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, this is Michael Jackson, like the biggest pop star right now, right? People are kind of dumb sometimes, man. They
And-
really are. Like,
On the flip side of what you're saying, everybody thinks their kid's special. So
Yeah.
it's just like,
Yeah, I don't have kids, so I can't
Same.
speak to that.
Like-
yeah.
I don't even know what a kid is.
but like most people, they think their kid's special. Like you walk up to somebody and like, oh yeah, your kid's awesome. Like, I'm Michael Jackson. I want to hang out with your kid. Like most people should be like,
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet you do. You sick
Yeah,
fuck.
you do.
most people should be like red flag, but
Yeah.
without being there, without being in that specific situation, like I feel like there's probably a lot of just like, oh shit, yeah, my kid is awesome. Like,
I mean,
of course you love my kid.
pop stars aside, you see, people of religious power and political power, and these things come out about them, and,
yeah,
and
like-
you don't.
Yeah.
People don't want to believe that it was true.
Whole Harvey Weinstein thing.
Yeah.
Or actually talking about Cardi B just not that long ago.
Oh,
That
yeah.
whole thing with the how she drugged men and robbed them.
To be fair,
Yeah,
that was.
yeah.
I don't know if that
To
was
be
ever
fair.
proven. Was it?
Yeah,
I think it
See,
was
I don't know.
an
Other than-
allegation. Nobody's actually really come out about it though. Like I don't think.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
But
If there have, I just haven't seen it. But I would like to know more about that.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, I'm not playing with you, Cardi B. I don't want you to drug me.
Oh,
Okay.
I don't know. Cardi B can drug me any day.
yeah. Just leave the wallet alone.
Yeah, dude, just don't rob me.
Oh, free drugs? Yeah, just don't touch my wallet.
Jesus. Have some fucking
Oh,
manners.
thank you so much. You're way too kind.
So I feel like we should probably talk about you guys' music a little bit
Yeah,
more
okay.
here.
We get sidetracked really. It's something that we need to give to anybody that wants to ever have this on their show. But we get sidetracked real easy.
So for anybody that hasn't heard you guys, so let's start it off with for fans of, if you're a fan of these bands, what bands would you guys?
I got a few. Teenage Wrist
Oh yeah.
and Nothing are two that come to mind.
I have not heard nothing, so I'm gonna have to check them out.
They're pretty cool. They're super wall of sound, kind of shoegaze, hard rock band. Really cool. They're actually kind of getting some traction right now. Teenage Wrist, obviously, they're kind of all over the place. I think they went on tour thrice.
New Thrice is really good.
It is.
Yeah.
Who else do we sound like?
I mean, like we have this whole like '90s thing kind of going
80s,
on.
90s influences. Like you know, some people have said that we sound like The Cure at times, and I'm like somebody told me like, oh, you guys sound like The Cure if they were fronted by Chester Bennington, and I'm like, that's
Yeah,
kind of fucking cool. 'cause
That-
I
that-
love
that's
both those
called
bands.
AF, dude. That's
Yeah.
so called.
Yeah. I was like, it's not. No two songs are the same. I mean, they have a central sound, but like. We don't go about writing every song the same. So I mean, those are just a few ideas that come to mind.
Yeah. I might say like someone like Snow Patrol, honestly.
Ooh, okay.
A
Really?
little, yeah. I mean, dude, I love Snow Patrol.
I mean, I know you do.
But like I can hear it like in the songs in certain parts, like it's not like we didn't just go and rip off like one band. There's like a ton in there.
Well, you have to rip off as many as you can.
Yeah, so like we got that 90s thing, a little grunge influence here and there, especially with some of the new stuff that we're writing.
Yeah, we're already writing new stuff.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
We're never not writing. It's really cool.
That's super healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
We don't want to have a time limit set for us to write our next release. We just want
Right.
to do it the second that we can. And
And plus with that backlog of demos, you guys, I mean,
Yeah,
That's-
we got lots.
ideas for days.
yeah, we're gonna start working on some covers and stuff too soon.
Hell
I
yeah.
think.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
I mean, yeah, just kind of back on the whole like the way we sound kind of thing. It's kind of we've always got this dreamy vibe kind of happening.
100th.
Yeah, 100th.
Yeah.
Their new album specifically. And, kind of dreamy, lots of reverb, lots
Distorted
of
guitars.
lots of really like big moments. So like I don't really think a specific genre, but just kind of like those types of things.
Yeah, very
Lots
all
of
over the place.
groove.
Very
Lots of rock
very 80s and 90s.
and roll.
Rock and or roll. It's either or if you
Rock
want.
slash roll.
Are there any opportunities to catch you guys live coming up?
Yeah, we are playing with I Set to Kill next month.
Hell yeah.
Hasn't been announced yet. 28th.
28th.
There'll be
Keep
more
it
details
on
on
the
that coming out soon, but it'll be cool, and really stoked on that show actually because the past couple shows we've played have been great turnouts, no doubt about it. Like really good turnouts for what they were. It's just we've been playing these smaller venues with not the best sound, and I always when walk on stage I'm like, yeah, it was a great set. We played amazing, vocals sounded great, but it wasn't mixed in a way that represents the way we want to. Like
I couldn't hear my guitar at all.
I couldn't hear my vocals at all. And people are like, it just sounds like wash.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's cool for some of our songs, but not all of it.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it really doesn't help that Jared is like just plays super loud drums.
Yeah.
With,
He hits
like,
hard as fuck.
with minal cymbals that just are super loud in your
Yep.
face. Like it's not built for like small clubs.
It's cool though playing those smaller intimate shows though because we are loud as fuck when we play. A lot of it is just stage volume. Like It's cool because you get to be in people's faces and like God damn, that was loud. I'm like, that's rock and roll.
Yeah, dude. No, I
Remember
remember.
heard of punk rock before?
Yeah.
You're welcome.
No, there was I turned on my amp at this last show that we played, and the sound guy was like, "Okay, that's really loud. Can you turn down?" You know.
Jared checked his snare drum. He goes, bam. He goes, that's all I need from you.
Yeah, no, I don't need too much of that.
It was like, the bands that were playing before us were of different genres. They didn't have to hit as hard. Like they're checking the drums, kind of like dot dot. And then Jared kind of goes, flam. It's like loud. He goes, all right, that's enough of that. It just reverberates through the entire room, and people are like, shotgun.
Yeah, no, there was actually a cool moment after we played. One of Jared's friends was there. His name is TT. I think that's his name.
I didn't get a chance to talk to too many people. But.
Anyway, so like we get off stage and he's talking to Jared and he's like, "Oh, you use triggers, right?" And Jared's like, "No."
All natural
So
drum
like,
sounds, baby.
just like just from that standpoint,
We
like
like it
everything
raw.
is super loud. It's great.
I'm glad you caught that because I was just
Raw dog,
Loud
you son
and
of a
proud.
bitch.
loud and proud. Alistair likes it raw. Headline. Who's
It's
Alistair?
gonna go in the description of this video.
I don't know who is Alistair. I don't know who they are, but they like it
Title.
raw.
Get raw.
Alistair on liking it raw. Yes.
So, any closing words for for the fans out there and anybody who made it this far into the podcast? Congrats
thanks.
to you, by the way.
I appreciate you.
Word to your mother. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
I like that.
Yeah. That's all I got for
I'm
you.
And
I'm
you like
gonna-
it raw.
Oh yeah, we like it raw.
But-
also everything is piss.
Everything is pissed.
Everything is piss. Super important.
Realize sometimes you think it be like it be,
And it do.
and it do. So that's just how it is.
All right.
And so are you.
And so are you.
Where can we check you guys out online?
Spotify, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook,
We have a
Apple
website.
Music. We have a website, alistairofficial.com. You can check our show dates, music videos, photos. No nudes, unfortunately.
Speak for yourself.
Hey,
Hey, $5, okay?
All naked band calendar.
Hey, no, hold on, no. You didn't hear that from us, okay?
Editing this part out.
Keeping that on the down low. That's
Secret idea.
I want to know if there's like a market for that.
Oh, dude.
We can make one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you can buy tickets to our shows on our website. Music, links, Spotify, everything's all on
Hit
there.
us up. We'll also sell you tickets.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of your
also-
upcoming shows should be on your Facebook page so people can come see.
Yeah,
check
and
that
I
out.
think, honestly, they're going to be on our website too once they're officially announced.
Yeah, I mean, once the second they're announced, they're available on our website. So if you don't want to buy them from us, get them from there. Yeah.
I have one more thing to say. I'm going to shamelessly self-promote right now.
Of course.
We recorded the entire album in my house. So if you or someone you know suffers from terrible mixes, come to me.
Nice.
Also, if you don't watch Trailer Park Boys, we can't be friends.
It's a horse. It goes wherever it wants.
Holy fuck, you're stupid sometimes.
And on that note, I want to say thank you for tuning in. My name's Andre,
I'm Ryan.
and thank you for watching the Arizona Breakdown.
See ya.
They see me, I was just like, hey, dude, I'm a big fan. How long have you been singing? He goes, a long time. And I was like, oh, he cool guyed you, dude.